All right, folks, let me ask you to do something. Take a look out your window. I don't know if you're near a window or if you're in a car. Take a look out the window. Look up at the sky. What do you see? Probably you see the sun, right? Maybe you see some clouds. See any missiles? See any bright objects heading towards you or your town? Now take a look. Lower your vision. Take a look at the city around you. Anything exploding? Any buildings in ruins? Any fires? Probably not, right? And that's a good thing. But imagine there were. Imagine your city had just been bombed. Missile after missile after missile, dozens, scores of missiles landing on your city, decimating buildings, God forbid, killing people. What would you think? Well, first thing you think is, I got to get to safety. I got to make sure my family's okay. After that, you'd probably wonder, who the hell is doing this? But let's say you knew who was doing it. Probably your next thought would be, we better kill those sons of bitches before they kill us, right? Item. From Breitbart, Dateline, Jerusalem. Imagine the southern half of the United States being bombarded by missiles for days at a time. Conceptualize the populations of Miami, Los Angeles, and Dallas running into bomb shelters as rocket sirens blare. This is the reality here in Israel as I write these words. For the last 3 days, more than 600 terror missiles have been indiscriminately fired upon some of Israel's largest cities. Almost half of Israel's population is currently inside the line of rocket fire, while our capital, Jerusalem, and the economical hub of Tel Aviv could be the next targets. Once the rocket alert system is activated, the people of Israel have only a few seconds to find refuge as Gaza missiles target their cities. Unquote. Folks, let's take this mental experiment a little further. Let's say you know who's firing missiles at you. And let's say you've got missiles of your own. And so you say, let's shoot back at them. And you do. The missiles stop. But wait a minute. You turn on the TV, and now you're seeing reports on television stations about how evil you are. After all, when you returned fire, you killed men, women, and yes, even children. Aren't you evil? Don't you feel ashamed of yourselves? All right, enough mental experiment. Let's come back to real life. Animals like Rashida Tlaib in the Congress, who's a Muslim. Animals in the Middle East are attempting to paint Israel as the bad guys because they retaliated after being attacked. Now, I don't know about you, but if you walk up to me and punch me in the face, I'm going to break your body into small pieces. And I have that right, since I am the aggrieved party. You were the aggressor, and I'm the person who was attacked. Israel certainly has a right to defend itself. No sane person would say otherwise. And so they're defending themselves. And so the propaganda machine, fueled by hundreds of millions of dollars from Arab countries, has gone into overdrive. And they're painting Israel as, what else? The Nazis. Anybody who double parks these days is a Nazi, right? Nazis. I think that the Arabs of the Middle East should thank Allah. I mean, that's their God, right? They should drop to their knees and thank Allah for a couple of different things. First of all, that Israel is never the aggressor. Israel just wants to live in peace and harmony. That's all they want. So they should thank Allah that Israel isn't trying to wipe them out, because I'm pretty confident Israel could wipe them out. The other thing that Arabs across the Middle East, and especially the Palestinian terrorists and murderers, the other thing they should thank Allah for is the fact that your humble host, Howard Riell, is not the Prime Minister of Israel. Because if he was, the Palestinians would long have departed Israel, whether they liked or not. Anybody around Israel firing missiles would be obliterated instantly. And peace would reign in the Holy Land. I have often on this program found fault with Benjamin Netanyahu, and I do so again. Everybody talks about him as if he's a hardliner. He's not. He hasn't transferred any of the Palestinian murderers out of Israel, hasn't laid waste to Gaza, hasn't slaughtered tens of thousands of Palestinians, although it would certainly be in his right, within his rights to do so. Instead, he comes out talking peace. And so we can be sure of two things. Number one, the Palestinians will talk with him. Why not? And then number two, at some point in the future, there will be more missiles coming towards Israel. In addition to the usual stuff, the people murdered, things blowing up, women raped, cars driving into crowded streets in Israel, all that stuff that we've grown inured to. The proper response to terror is more terror, better terror, which Israel could provide if it wanted to. It doesn't. And so ultimately Israel brings tragedy upon itself. It also brings tragedy upon the rest of the world. Because if Israel did react forcefully and put an end to the terrorist threat, other Western countries who want to live in peace would be inspired to do the same. Next thing you know, an awful lot of terrorists would be dead. An awful lot of terrorist strongholds would be smoldering piles of ash. And the threat of terrorism would recede into the background. Instead, it's not the case. It's Monday. This is Riell Truth. We'll be right back.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no tax, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who's honest and has integrity. A realtor who's focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line. Who provides personal, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you. You can buy gold just about anywhere for all kinds of different deals. So why do you use the Patriot rate 20 years of service just like that? 8-month rate benefit just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Fine. Just like that. We're on the gold facilities on the Patriot rate at 800-951-059. Just like that. Join us and don't miss the moment of the Allen Township, your number one source for independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. InfoWars is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are rebooting 1776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show, KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado.
So what the hell is going on there in the Middle East? Why are they firing missiles at Israel? And what is our president doing about it? Well, those are all excellent questions. Here's Glenn Beck answering them.
The USS Abraham Lincoln over to stand guard against Iran. This is clearly
My question, why is it all linked? What does Hamas have to do with Iran? Why does Iran care about Palestinians? Well, here's the answer, and it's a very important answer. The Muslims in Iran and the Muslims in Gaza and the Muslims everywhere belong to the Muslim Ummah, the body of Islam. Islam envisions itself not as pieces here and there, but as one vast ocean, if you will, of Muslims. And they're all united and they all support each other, which is a very, very good argument for punishing all Muslims, wherever they are. Because even if they're not the actual terrorists, they're the actual support for the terrorists. Many years ago, our government found out that most of the mosques in this country are dispensing information about jihad, whether it's written or verbal, stirring people up to commit jihad, passing out leaflets about how to commit jihad. So don't think about that just because Muslims are killing people on the other end of the world, it doesn't affect us. If you've got Muslims in your city, it affects you.
Pacific High Ranking Commander, just like you said, that's his job, is to take the funds that come over from Iran and give that to Hamas, give it to Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and a number of other groups that Iran supports in Israel. It's very...
By the way, this money that Iran is sending to terrorists and Hamas and elsewhere, where'd this money come from? Well, I can't tell you where it all came from. I can tell you where $150 billion of it came from. It came from you. Yeah, you. And me. American tax dollars gathered together by one Barack Hussein Obama a few years ago and sent on a pallet in an airplane to Iran. Knowing, and the government told us at the time they knew, knowing that at least most of it, maybe all of it, would be spent funding terrorism. So whatever blood is being spilled in the Middle East, it is slathered upon the hands of Barack Obama and his fellow Democrats who were fine with everything he was doing, and all the simpletons who voted for Barack Obama. They all share in the bloodshed that's happening now. It was indeed divine intervention. Anybody out there ever read the Bible? Let me see a show of hands. Oh, I forgot, this is the radio. I'm betting most, if not all of you, read the Bible. And so you've read 2 or 3 different places in the Bible where God says flat out, those who bless my people Israel will be blessed, and those who curse them will be cursed. Israel survives because it's God's hand. Israel will never be destroyed. The Jewish people will never be destroyed. I don't remember reading any guarantees like that about Muslims. Well, stop right there. Now, I don't know who this guy is who's talking with Glenn Beck, but he seems to be drawing a distinction between divine intervention and the United States government. Well, how do you think a country like America gets to be as powerful and rich as it is? And is it only a coincidence that this country, the United States of America, which we all love, richest, most powerful nation in history, is also the nation that has been the absolute best friend of the Jewish people in the state of Israel? Remember, those who bless my people Israel will be blessed. Those who curse them will be cursed. No country has blessed the Jewish people more than America. And so no country has more power, influence, and money than America. Not a coincidence. And the fact that America exists and that Donald Trump is its president, that's not a coincidence. It's not just happenstance. It's divine intervention. This is a seamless unit. All the events in the world are orchestrated by God. In one way or another, they all work to defend Israel and the Jewish people.
It's will. Absolutely no less will. And now, you were just quoting, they're trying to change public sentiment. They don't have the social contract to go in and defend Israel. We have the Israel for now that's going to, stand with that.
Good point. We have an administration that will stand solidly beside Israel right now. What about in 2020? Well, if the people who despise America, despise our safety and security, despise our wealth and our quality of life, if the people who hate America down deep in their guts get their way, Donald Trump and other Republicans in Congress would be voted out, and would be replaced by people just like Barack Obama, except more extreme. People who are open in their disdain for Israel and the Jewish people. By the way, as long as we're talking, the Christian people too. Because liberals are not religious. And so, yeah, as long as Trump is in the White House, and Republicans are in Congress, we Republicans control the Senate, Israel has a friend. And so we'll see if the people who hate Israel and hate America, we'll see how they vote. And we'll see if they want to put a terrible scourge in power in this country. Right now, Israel has a great friend in the United States, in Donald Trump. Let's hope it stays that way.
It showed them that we were willing to pay for their own first in the area.
Well, hang on 1 second there, boys. Hang on a second. Egypt and Saudi Arabia would not be in on it. Is that what you think? The way things stand now, Egypt and Saudi Arabia have been making nice with Israel because it's in their great interest to do so. For a variety of reasons. But if a war started, God forbid, and especially if it looked like the Arab armies were gaining control over Israel, something tells me that Saudi Arabia and Egypt would want to be part of that. After all, Israel, it's weakened, perhaps about to be destroyed, would no longer be a benefit to those countries, and so why not? Why not mend fences with their fellow Arab countries? There's the prophet Isaiah in the Bible, when the Jewish king wanted a peace deal with Egypt, was depending on Egypt. The prophet said, Shmuck. Well, he didn't say Shmuck. I say Shmuck. Don't depend on Egypt. It's like a broken reed. You lean on them and it gives way. So before we start talking about which Arab nations would not be in on the attack on Israel, let's think a little bit. Let's think a little bit. This is the Arab mind we're dealing with.
Yeah.
well, then you haven't been listening to Riell Truth, because there is nothing, and I mean nothing, in this world that unites Muslims and Arabs. In most cases, they're the same. Nothing unites them like hatred for Jews and Christians, but mostly for Jews. Nothing unites them like hatred for Israel. They may hate each other, but when the call goes out for jihad against Israel, they come together like Muslim brothers. We've seen it. We'll see it again.
But really, it would be hard enough fighting with Hezbollah. I mean, consider Israel's already fought a war with Hezbollah, and it didn't go very well. It did not go very well. They've had years and years and years to get the funding, to get the weapons. That's why the blockade is there. And that's something that Ilhan Omar or Rashid Tlaib are not even talking about. They keep calling this an occupation force. There are no occupying troops in Gaza. There are none. Yeah, when Rashid said, when are we going to stop dehumanizing Palestinians? Well, I don't know. I'm not dehumanizing Palestinians. I don't know anybody who does dehumanize Palestinians. Except the Palestinians and Iran. They don't care about the Palestinians. Yeah, it seems like when you want to strap a vest that explodes on a person, you're kind of dehumanizing them. Even if it is to kill the Jews and that wonderful, glorious goal you have, when you push mothers and babies to the front line, knowing that they're going to be slaughtered, when you put them next to the top terror targets to make sure that, to kill them, you have to also have other casualties that they can then exploit. Yeah. Who's dehumanizing these people? When the Hamas leadership, when they fire rockets or when they make a decision from their headquarters, they know exactly what's going to happen. They know a retaliation is going to come. They know a bomb is going to come from the IDF. What they do is they immediately abandon those buildings and they go into the civilian buildings next door. So that when you hear that civilians die, that's by design. They do that on purpose, and they know how the media is going to cover it. And the media falls for it every frigging time. It's absolutely. Here's where I think this is falling apart. I think the Democrats are so overplaying their hand, and not by choice. I mean, did you see Nancy Pelosi come out this weekend going, we really need to kind of stay in the middle ground? I don't know if you saw this, but she's like, we should be, we really need to kind of remain more in the middle.
Now, folks, it's no secret to you. Nancy Pelosi is vermin. She's an idiot. On the one hand, she looks at Israel, which just wants to live peacefully. She looks at the terrorists, and she wants to be in the middle. Well, a great rabbi once said, the middle of the road is where the horses are. And so maybe that is where Nancy Pelosi belongs. I was raised to believe that in a choice between good and evil, it's no choice at all. You side with good and try and destroy evil. Political whores and nitwits like Nancy Pelosi, they're in the middle with the horses, which is where they belong. It's about time, not just Israel, but the whole world say, you know what? We're done dealing with Islamic terror. We're done. We're going to eradicate it. That's how you reach lasting peace. We'll be back.
all pretty much.
All right, guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. By the way, check out my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. Check out my book, Riell Truth Stay Angry. You'll find it at virtualbookworm.com, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, just about any .com you like. You'll find my book. It's a great read. If I were you, I would get it. Now, we're talking about liberals. We're talking about Democrats and their support for terrorists. Okay, well, here's Laura Ingraham on Fox News talking about stunts and noise as opposed to substance and poise. See, it even rhymes. Let's listen. This is Michael Avenatti, the sleazeball lawyer. Now, my friends, I am not calling for Michael Avenatti to go to jail for 333 years. Because I'm a compassionate person, I would cut it to 307 years because I'm a nice guy. This is Cory Booker, the asswipe who thinks of himself as Spartacus. This is Kamala Harris, the dumbbell who has about a zero chance of ever getting close to the White House. My friends, how disgraceful it is, how horrible it is, that liars and fools like Cory Booker, like Kamala Harris, like that guy Blumenthal, like that guy Cohen, like Schumer and Pelosi, and on and on and on. How awful is it that disgusting liars like that, who hate America, let's be honest, are elected to office? The only thing I can think of more disgusting, more disheartening than that is that there are Americans who voted for them. These are the anchors around America's neck. This is the roadkill. The people who are in America, you look at them and you're disgusted. They don't love America. They don't know why they should. They're angry, they're cranky, they're resentful. And so they vote for these phony baloney haters, these liars, and give them power. And the liars, the Cory Bookers, the Kamala Harrises, the Hillary Clintons, they use the power of their office to try and damage America. They're succeeding. They're damaging America. How much time in the Trump administration has been lost dealing with lies and the people who propagate them, rather than dealing with problems that affect all Americans and can make life better if solved? Yes, Donald Trump has done an absolutely tremendous job as president, but how much more could he have done if not for the germ cells in the Democrat Party like Kamala Harris and all the others, wasting the government's time, wasting the government's money, and really pointing a loaded weapon at the American people, and at the same time empowering our enemies. Folks, we've got to get the hell rid of the Democrats. Got to. We'll be back.
join us to donate the moment of Gallup Junction, your number one source for independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. Info, pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are including 1776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1368. The Alex Jones Show on KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado. The Mercury Trading Group is a different kind of gold and silver company, cleaning up the industry for 21 years. Are you tired of the high-pressure sales tactics, the constant phone calls? Are you done with the bait and switch? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect. That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You have my word on it. I'm Joe Jacobs, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com. Are you standing out the window of Patriot screen, your left screen yard or backyard barbecue? Don't blink. Or do you know it's a big behind track? Don't let the ace away from that or don't see that guy. Or Turk Taylor Landscaping at 970-460-CHURCH or visit our website at turktaylorlandscaping.com. We will get your garden attention. Specializing in maintenance and install of commercial and residential properties. We pride ourselves in our clean cut, personal crews for consistently and quickly detailing properties. Visit our website at turktaylorlandscaping.com. Our install crews can transform your backyard into the outdoor space you always dreamed of. Call me, Brian, at 970-460-CHURCH for a free walkthrough and estimate where we can meet and discuss the best options for your landscaping needs. Family owned and locally operated, we've been serving Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support in supporting KHNC.
Hi guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. Howard Riell behind the microphone on this Monday afternoon. Have been watching in the media all the coverage of those Muslim kids who were chanting, "Cut people's heads off" in Philadelphia. By the way, I used to live in Philadelphia. You've been seeing, undoubtedly, they've had a large segment on CNN and on MSNBC and ABC. And you've watched it, right? No, you haven't. Because they haven't had any segments on those stations about Muslim kids right here in America, Philadelphia, the Liberty Bell, the Declaration of Independence, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson. These names ring the bell somewhere, the Liberty Bell. In Philadelphia, Muslim children are chanting about cutting people's heads off. Once again, here's Glenn Beck.
CNN. Their lives without hesitation. They attained paradise possibilities from their bodies. They compete with one another to reach paradise. Will Jerusalem be their capital city or will it be populated? We will defend our land and fight guys with our bodies. We will sacrifice without hesitation. We will chop off their heads. We will literally be sorrowful and exalted us.
But folks, let me ask you a question. Maybe your kids are young. Maybe you have kids who used to be young. It doesn't matter. When they were in school, I'm looking at these kids here, third grade maybe, fourth grade. They used to sing songs and talk about cutting people's heads off, right? I mean, they used to talk about exterminating entire groups of people, right? When your third grader, fourth grader, fifth grader would get together for a class skit, they would talk about chopping people's heads off, right? Well, they probably didn't because you're probably not a Muslim. But in Muslim schools like this one, right in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they do. So I don't want to hear any more about Muslims being just like you and me. I also don't want to hear any more about, well, in the future, they'll learn, they'll come, they'll assimilate, they'll get civilized, and we'll all live together, kumbaya. Folks, it's not happening. It's not going to happen.
Will lead the army of Allah fulfilling his process, and we will subject them to eternal torture. Wow.
Folks, don't you want your third graders, fourth graders learning about eternal torture? Eternal torture for Jews or for Christians? This is the sickness. This is the barbarism. This is the evil, the demonic that is fed to Muslim children. And so, no, we won't civilize them. We won't live in peace and tolerance with them. We need to subjugate them. We need to control them. Mostly we need to export them. Anybody except me talking about doing that?
Okay, so the excuse that they used that the slick through the cracks, Muslim American Society was it just wasn't vetted properly, and that doesn't represent our point of view at all. Can I ask you something? Can I ask you, so that's the first time those kids just came up with that on their own? No. Genocide plays so many times I can't count them. No. Now listen, you said it wasn't vetted properly. Right. So that means they were probably, you should see what they cut. You should see what was vetted. It does make you wonder, though. Yeah, it does make you wonder. I mean, there's no way, that's not like one phrase you're like, okay, but it kind of, no, there's no double meaning in this. No, none at all. None at all. It's not like you took that out of context. Right. This goes on for, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. For them to say, what just wasn't vetted, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And that it doesn't really represent their point of view. Well, okay, then how come kids just did that on their own? Then how come memory found out about it? Yeah. How come it wasn't the Muslims in that community that came out of there and saying, hey, we have some bad Muslims that are running our mosque, and they didn't vet this? How come there wasn't...
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I keep hearing nonstop palaver about moderate Muslims, peace-loving Muslims, Muslims who are great neighbors. Where are they? Why aren't they reporting these outrages? Well, because they don't want to. Remember I mentioned the Muslim Ummah a little while ago, the body of Islam around the world? They support each other. They're united. Not everyone is pulling on a shrapnel vest. But if they know about the guys in the shrapnel vest, they're not telling anybody. And if they need money or a place to hide, it's provided. We're about to go to commercial break, so let me leave you with this. We are, whether we like it or not, we're at war with Islam for control of the world. Islam is pushing the fight. They are the aggressors. They want to conquer us. Well, I don't know about you. I don't really feel like being conquered. And if I can stop the people who want to conquer me, I will. And that's why I do this radio show. Because I want to stop the bad guys from winning. If you would like to stop the bad guys from winning, you need to get busy. You need to get active. You can't just sit and listen. You need to do. Let's listen to these commercials and we'll be back.
Find out what the mainstream media is. We are exclusive report, live coverage information you won't find anywhere else. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360. Yeah, KHNC, the heart of anywhere for all kinds of different deals. The one thing you can is great. Just like that. Ain't no just like that. Just like that. Just like that.
Item from Fox News, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden reportedly had to correct himself over the weekend after telling donors that Margaret Thatcher is concerned about the United States under President Trump. Well, with all due respect to Margaret Thatcher, she's been dead for 6 years. So what's going on in Joe Biden's head? Well, based on 40 years in Congress, I would say not much. Item from the Daily Caller. The company that Flint, Michigan hired to replace lead water pipes had no experience with the work, according to a councilwoman and a contractor. Despite that, the city has received more than $600 million in state and federal aid for its water crisis. And the city ignored a model showing where lead pipes are and paid to dig up every yard, the vast majority of which had copper pipes, according to meeting minutes. Unquote. My friends, I'm reluctant to point it out, but Flint, Michigan has been controlled forever by Democrats. And there are Democrats running Flint, Michigan today, and that's why their heads are so far up their asses that nothing is getting done in Flint, Michigan, despite $600 million. Item from the College Fix. The president of Williams College rebuked the student government after it refused to recognize a pro-Israel student group, saying the college council's decision was, quote, made on political grounds, unquote. So, my friends, anti-Semitism is fine. Racism is cool. Just ask any of the nitwits at Williams College and far too many other colleges who wouldn't dream of hearing about anybody discriminating against a person of color or a woman or someone from the LGBT community. But if you discriminate against Jews, well, that's okay. Do you wonder why kids this age are prime Democrat Party voters? Item from the Washington Examiner. Ivanka Trump, President Trump's unofficial job czar, today heralded a new report that unemployment hit a 49-year low by cheering, quote, we're making it happen. In a statement to Washington Secrets, the first daughter said our policies continue to deliver more and better jobs for American workers, unquote. Unemployment at a 49-year low. Thank you. President Trump. Item from ABC News. The United States is deploying an aircraft carrier strike group and a bomber task force to the Middle East on short notice in response to, quote, clear indications Iran and Iranian proxies were planning an attack on U.S. forces in the region, a U.S. official said. Unquote. If only, my friends, if only the people in the government had the foresight to listen to Riell Truth any time over the last several years when I've been talking about absolutely demolishing Iran. But instead, we're being the nice guys. Item from The Guardian. A study published this week sheds doubt on ambitious claims made for the universal basic income, the scheme that would give everyone regular, unconditional cash payments enough to live on. The study could find no evidence to suggest that such a scheme could be sustained for all individuals in any country in the short, medium, or long term, or that this approach could achieve lasting improvements in well-being or equality. In other words, this idea, which is being floated by Democrats, is an absolute laughingstock, and no one above the age of 6 should believe it. Item from The Telegraph. The idea... Okay, I think that's it. I will hold this item for tomorrow. You're going to like it. I will see you tomorrow, my friends. Stay safe. Stay healthy. While you're at it, stay angry.